Good morning or good evening, televiewers of M4 television, wherever you are, out of the borders of Cameroon. It is your program tonight, Game of Thrones, on this very platform in Cameroon. Of course, today we'll be talking about two various crucial topics that is making wave across the country, and it's no other about than the nationalization of NEO. A few days or a few weeks after the nationalization of this wonderful company in the country, but Cameroonians continue to witness a blackout throughout the national territory. Why is this situation in the country? Of course, our panelists will be talking about this in the course of the program. Upside that, I'll be talking about the regional elections, the voting or the election of regional councillors in Cameroon. It's no news that recently, that was on November 30th, 2025, on November 30th, 2025, of course, the regional election took place in Cameroon, and of course, these members were being voted in the various region. Of course, is this election timely in Cameroon? That is what our panelists will be talking in the course of this program. And it's no news that we have a handful of them, and of course they are well equipped with such information to dish out to you as the program unfolds. And of course, I will commence this very evening with the civil society activist. Is no other person than Numfor. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Phil. Good evening, dear co-panelists. Good evening to the millions of televiewers glued to M4 TV worldwide. I would like to start this program by extending my heartfelt condolences to the families of all those who died in the fuel tanker accident in Likumbatiko. May their souls rest in perfect peace. And I'm calling on our government to take more stringent measures in the, preventing such accidents that lead to a lot of human toll on our roads. I equally want to use this opportunity to plead with, to continue to dove my heart to all those who are incarcerated for post-election violence in Cameroon, appealing to the authorities to, tamper justice with mercy by releasing them, especially the Naira 10 who are going to be presented to the Supreme Court on the 18th, that is in 2 days' time. I am appealing to the government of my country for the sake of peace, national unity, and appeasement to tamper justice with mercy and release all those inmates, all political prisoners and detainees, so that our country should breathe an air of relief. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Numfor Lawson Nongwa, a civil society activist. Of course, with us, we have Blaise Kwajika, communicator with the PCRN party, is here with us. Good evening and welcome once more to the program.
Good evening, Philip. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to the millions of televiewers watching your program. I'm very, very happy to be here to share with level-headed, resourceful panelists, something like doctor who is just sitting beside, and barrister who have been sharing this program. So I'm very delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blaise Kwajika of the PCRN party. It's a pleasure to have you with us once more on this prestigious set in Yaoundé. Of course, on my left, we have barrister Michael Lekelefaka. Good evening and welcome once more to the program.
Good evening, Mr. Philip. Good evening to my co-panelists and good evening to the millions of televiewers of M4 TV. It is my pleasure to be here again for us to continue the journey of nation building through contributing our little ideas, but which is the way we can contribute as patriotic citizens for our nation building. Thanks for the invitation. And I would want to join my voice as well to that of Numfor Lawson to express my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families in Likumbatiko, and to pray that those who have gone before us, that may the good Lord grant them rest, and that one day we shall join them where they are. They should pray for us, we shall pray for them here, and perhaps draw the attention of the government which is there, that they should not only be capable of organizing elections and having results, but that they should equally look into problems that pertain, that are which are causing Cameroonians to be on perpetual agony. For example, look at the issue of the roadside we are talking of, which is not part of our debate today, but we cannot keep aside that we have to draw the attention of those who are there, that we are not happy with what is going on because it is a repeated issue in our country.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefaka Mike, for your presence. It is very obvious that we have another panelist, Prince Ekoso of the USDP party, will be joining us by the special grace of God in the course of this program. So just stay tuned, because more will be coming up from this very set this evening. But before we dive directly to what we have for you today as menu, let's do have this transition. I'll be back in a jiffy. Back to your program, of course. If you're just joining us, this is Full Television in Yaoundé, and it is your program Game of Thrones. We dive directly to what we have for you today as a menu. One of our topics we'll be talking about the continuous blackout after the nationalization of NAO. What actually went wrong? What is not right? Of course, I will comment with you, Ngwalau Sonumfo. You are a civil society activist. Today, we come to discover that a few days ago, the NAO was being nationalized by the Cameroon government, and it is no more under the keeping of foreigners. Now, Cameroonians do have the full responsibility to manage electricity affairs throughout the national territory. But there is a continuous witnessing, Cameroonians are witnessing continuously in some part of the country, blackouts. What actually is not right?
Thank you once more, Phil. You know, electricity outages continue to paralyze the socio-economic activities, households, and industries, in spite of the nationalization of NAO and the injection of 420 megawatts of electricity per following the commissioning of the Natiga hydropower dam into the national grid in March 2025. Of course, the hardest hit areas, you know, the outages are nationwide, but the hardest hit areas, you know, is the Fako area, where for the past 7 to 8 months, families have lived without electricity, and in the past weeks people came out to strike, and but for the timeliness of administrative authorities who calmed the spirits down, we would have been talking about something else now. According to, from a statistical perspective, according to an engineer, a design and dam engineer by the name Serge Henri Kerbe, who is a Cameroonian, Cameroon has a production, a hydropower production potential of 23,000 megawatts, which is the second largest in Africa after the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it is, Cameroon has the 18th potential in the whole world. You can imagine. And then we have the third largest biomass reserves in sub-Saharan Africa, with 21 million hectares of reserves. Huge reserves equally are found in wind, wave, and tidal wave reserves in this country, not leaving out thermal power supply that abound in our nation.
But Laosingwa, with all these resources, with all these possibilities that Cameroon do have at this moment, why is it that the country or some Cameroonians are still finding it difficult to access full current, full electricity, despite the fact that of this potential? We see that Cameroon now, we do have the total possession of a company right now, a few days ago. Is it because of the fact that before NAO left, there was a lot of problems? That's why we are just inheriting problems?
Well, in spite of this energy mix, the diversity and the richness that Cameroon has as a result of this energy mix, we are still suffering from outages for several reasons. The first reason is, it shocked many people, the first reason is natural. The first reason is natural, and this natural factor is linked to climate change. You know, the concept, the climate change or climate variability is affecting the entire world, and it is having a toll on the electricity sector because low rainfall in many parts of the world has reduced the flow of rivers which produce hydroelectric power.
So you are telling us that it is just a few days after the nationalization of Eneo, that's where when Cameroonians start witnessing,
we are trying to look at the issue,
multiple situations of climate changes.
No, we are trying to look at it from a global perspective before narrowing down to the immediate causes, you know. So you know, when something like this, we need to look at the global causes, and then we come down to the specifics, so that our viewers who are out there can learn a lot from what is, because you see there's a lot of there's equally a lot of misunderstanding too about all this energy problem. We need to explain to our people so that they should know, and they should not come out you know, in ignorance and start causing problems, you know. So as I was saying, the natural causes are there, but they don't exclude the government, or they don't, you know, issue the government from its responsibilities. So I was just saying that the first one is the climate aspect. The second one is, you know, corruption in that sector. There is a lot of corruption within the electricity sector in Cameroon, and this corruption stems from the fact that many workers in that company, you know, they owe their jobs through nepotism, through favoritism, and through many other forms of influence peddling that make them, you know, they don't serve the company, they want to serve their private pockets. And as a result of all this corruption, you know, they tend to, you know, they do a lot of amateur connections on lines, you know, they do illegal connections which end up reducing the voltage, the voltages that are supposed to be supplied to the communities. We equally have, you know, infrastructure that is old and outdated, transmission lines that are not functioning properly, that are overloaded, and all of these things, they lead to fires, they cause fires, accidents, and so on and so forth. So, but I wanted to equally come in on one issue. You know, a few weeks ago we talked about this this same topic, but in another form, and I was telling you that Eneo, even though we're happy that the government has bought back, has renationalized Eneo, but it was doing that at the cost of 800 billion francs, taking, you know, it was like the other company that was there saw the huge debt that they were owing, and they decided that they should give that company back to the Cameroon government. So
you're telling us that
yes.
ASONEL had to inherit the debt from the previous person that was actually in power during the electricity stuff in Cameroon. But I'll come back to you very soon, for Lawson. Let me get your own point of view, Bless Kwajika. It is very obvious now today that as Cameroonians are complaining, some Cameroonians are saying that they've gone maybe days or weeks without current, and it is troubling their businesses. It is actually hampering their daily activities. Now, a few days after the nationalization of Eneo, blackout, outages, what is wrong?
Thanks to Doc, who have at least given us at least a detail, that is a view on what is really happening. That is a global view. Mr. Philip, there is something that we have in this country apart from Eneo. If you want to look how parastatals have been manage in this country, you will see that all these is still the same problem that circulates. Because when I listened what my co-panelist just said, it's still the same. Governance, what comes in is mostly governance, even though the environmental factor also count, where we have the emission of CO2, which is one of the problems that is being fought not only in Cameroon, but is something global. But if we want to take it right down, that is bring it, particularize everything, bring it to our, so you would see issues like nepotism, as he said. That is.
So are you telling us that the government do have all what it takes to provide electricity to each and every person in the country, in each and every community in the country, but you're telling us that it is because of nepotism that is why we have outages today?
Exactly. Not only nepotism, I just want to say corruption, because we don't know how recruitment is being done in some of these parastatals.
Now, when you talk about corruption, what actually do you mean? What are you trying to insinuate?
Yes, corruption. When I talk of corruption, you don't know, because these are big contracts. Let me explain how electricity is being generated in this country. We have three stages. We have the production, which is being done by EDC. We have Sonatrel, who takes the transportation, and then now we have artists or NAO, who are there to sell the product. That is, this is three phases. Now, when you come at the level of the production stage, that's where corruption starts. That is the white elephant project that they put in place. Very big sum of money that is being pumped. All of us, we know how a megawatt of electricity costs to produce 1 megawatt. But when you hear projects like the Nachtigal, you hear billions that have been pumping, but you don't see, they are not delivering the work. But we keep on pumping budgets. Every year we hear of presidential degree, the Secretary General have written whatever, ordering this company to carry the project. There are a lot of things we don't want to get. We know how it operates. All these
Cameroonians are not aware of.
Yeah, they are not aware.
So they want to know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we are here for that. We are here for that, to tell Cameroonians where it comes from. Because the money that we could have used, that we could have minimized, that is made the Cameroonian, that is the common man, to feel, to benefit that energy. We use that money. Some people use it for project. They say they want to take project to realize project. At the end, they don't deliver the project.
But Bless Kwajika, if you keep insisting on the fact that the government of Cameroon, or the authority that of course has been dedicated to man this project across the country, are not doing their job, but you come to discover that there are other countries, Cameroon is far better when it comes to electricity distribution in the country, and in Cameroon do export elsewhere. That's another significance, that the country is doing a lot to make sure that electricity do stay, but maybe one or two things is not going well.
Please, can you sign me one of those countries? Because with all the potentials that Doctor just cited here, I don't see us comparing with other countries. In other countries where we are in an environment where we have water flow everywhere, water bodies everywhere, surrounded with water bodies. Northwest, when you get to Northwest, Southwest, do you know that the Menchum Dam, if we put the Menchum Dam, we put a good project just for the Menchum Dam, do you know how many households are we going to satisfy? We are going to import what you can imagine. That is the Menchum. I'm talking of the Menchum Dam. But I've never seen nobody bothering about that. In fact, we have a problem in this country. How corporate, that is parastatals, are being managed. How do we recruit in this institution, Mr. Philip? That's the problem where it starts. It kills competence. Doctor said it. Nepotism. You don't know who is there. Someone will just take maybe the son, the wife, and just put it there as the director. Everything just center on the same family. at the end, you find yourself that competence.
But before
before those managerial skills,
before the nationalization,
like
Bless Kwajika, before the nationalization of NU, of course, Cameroonians were witnessing blackouts, outages.
Of course, but what's the difference now? As we speak, if I call, I just called my mother in the village. They don't have light, they don't have energy. Businesses are just crumbling. Do you know how many people depend on electricity to earn a living? Not to talk of I don't know, someone who have a grinding mill somewhere that has to produce, that has to. No, Mr. Philip, we need to be serious. There are macro problems that Doctor just cited, and which is very pertinent. If we can't handle these macro problems, and these macro problems, it turns around governance. We have centralized everything in the hands of an individual, which these are things that we need to decentralize. What if each region could have its own, we can make these parastatals, Doctor. Yes. Let these parastatals in each region should be integrated, so that each region, we have the regional houses that I don't know. We will be coming for that. We'll be coming on that. These are issues that we need to be discussing in such institutions, because they are the one in charge of development.
Yes.
I don't know if you are getting me. They are the ones. I think each region needs to have its own, has to be autonomous.
Thank you very much.
Where we can manage these resources.
Thank you.
We know how we can do our recruitment. We know where we can get our resources. We know where we can get the competent people who are ready to work for the people. And not wait for Yaoundé to decide everything. At the end, we don't see, they don't deliver. We keep on complaining. We complain. We say, oh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I think there are a lot of problems that circulate on this issue, but governance.
Thank you.
I see emphasis on governance.
Thank you very much, Blaise Kwajika from the PCRN party. I'll come to you, Barrister Michael Lekelefak. It is very obvious that in Cameroon today, people, we are aspiring to emerge come 2035, and Cameroonians somewhere, somehow, are complaining that, of course, they do witness power outages, of course, something that were not current at this moment. We just nationalized in NEO, and today, some Cameroonians are not comfortable with the situation concerning electricity. What is not right?
Before the renationalization, I think it's like Mr. Blaise just ended by talking about governance. I think that is why I began my analysis of this problem.
But if you keep talking about governance on daily basis,
I am not an expert.
Who should govern what?
I'm not an expert in the domain of electricity, but I want to give you some clue to say it is a governance problem. When you look at a structure like ENU, or like the electricity sector in Cameroon, we want to look at how many households are using electricity in a particular area or in the national territory. These are statistics which you can make an assessment to know that the voltage which is coming to this particular region is going to meet these particular numbers of households, and that is why the capacity I mean, it is the first thing is we are working with just an institution which is just like some sort of gambling, try by error. There is no statistics, no database that we can say that in Cameroon we have 1,000 households which are dependent on electricity, and these 1,000 households we are having 1,000 households, and the power source that we are able to use, it may be from hydroelectricity, is maybe, if it is 1,000 megawatt, it can save maybe 800%. Then we can now start a look into other energy sources like the solar system in order to complement the 200 which cannot have hydroelectric electricity. So you see that the first thing is we have a governance system which is archaic, which does not take into the realities of the day. We have, I think the power structure, the power plant which is there, has even gone too far to, Mr. Lawson was talking about the case of the strike, which I think it just took place in Motengene, I suppose. But if you want to look at it, when I talk about governance, you see the southwest province or region as it is called today. There was a dam in Yoke, which was generating electricity. What has become the outcome of this dam today? But it is governance which has destroyed this dam, just because we want to centralize and say that it is only Yaoundé which can take decisions which will affect everybody in the country. Governance, bad governance. If that dam was there at Yoke as it used to be, that dam was producing a sufficient energy, light which could even go beyond the southwest. I think I'm not
supplying the whole of southern Cameroon.
I'm not an expert in that. So, but you see that because of bad governance, because of some people who don't know what is called leadership, when they are put in leadership position, they ruin. They inject. They are happy to see Cameroonians cry every day that we don't have this, so that they go up, they move around gambling to say that want to resolve this problem.
The situation of outages or blackouts is not everywhere.
It's not everywhere, but it is recorded in our society. Why? That is why I'm trying to give you that the problem is because of governance. The problem is that of governance and nothing more than governance. And don't be surprised that today, the renationalization which we are talking about today, that Cameroon is taking back the electricity sector, it may not even be for the interest of the people, as you think, but it may be because since the coffers of the country are almost dried everywhere, they want to take this structure so that the money which comes there again, they continue to squander as they have been squandering everywhere.
Of course, there is an anti-corruption unit that is in control of issues concerning corruption in Cameroon. So you cannot be stressing on the fact of corruption inside their entities that do fight against that.
The entities which are there have nothing. We have bulldogs in core entities which are fighting corruption. These entities are created to blind. To shield the eyes of Cameroonians from seeing into the reality. If you want to look into parastatals as we are talking, take the cooperative, the marketing board which existed in the southern Cameroon. What has become of these are structures which were generating, which were taking care of the people, the plight of the common man. So the bad governance which is there, we have a structure. We have, if you look at it, I think the people are there. When they took over the realm of powers, the population density was just about, let me say, maybe it was by then maybe some 10 million, I think. But today in 2025, the influx, the increase which people are, they are still thinking, leading, not even leading, but they are rulers who believe that the population is still as they took over.
Thank you very much.
We need to resolve problems by taking statistics and trying to conceive, take into the electricity. Please, just a second. You will see that if you go to the northern regions where there may be the problem of hydroelectricity may be lacking, solar, we can complement, we can go there, we can strategize that we want to resolve the problem of electricity light there with solar. They have a lot of light, they have a lot, this is how we can address problems in our society.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefak. That's your own point of view, and of course there are Cameroonians who do buy them. I'll come back to you, Numfo Laosongwa. It is no news that despite the fact that people are complaining today that we have electricity problems, in other parts of the country we do have electricity. In some, go to the northwest, we do have electricity in some areas, in the southwest and other parts of the country, but yet people are still complaining. Don't you think that it is because of the fact that before NEO left, there was something, or there were equipments that were not actually up to standard, and the country, the government, is trying by all possible means to put things intact? That's why we do have situations like this, and in no distant time things will be fine.
Well, Phil, just to key up from Maitre, talking about the northern parts of Cameroon, you talked about the outages are virtually in all the 10 regions of Cameroon. Frankly speaking, it's a very serious issue. And you know that the northern regions in the past used to be supplied with electricity from the Lagdo Dam, which produces 72 megawatts of electricity. But because of the population increase, you know, that those megawatts proved insufficient for those 3 regions. And then some years ago, the government brought up a new dam project in the Bini Awarak in the Adamawa region to produce about 70 kilowatts of electricity. That project started in 2017, and by 2019 it got slumped because of finances. So that is one of the causes of this outage, because the northern part of the country, they cannot have enough electricity from the southern interconnected grid, which is around the Sanaga area, because the southern interconnected grid.
Is it a problem of transportation?
They are all mixed. Transportation is there, the natural factors are there, the corruption is there as well, and many other factors. I still want to come back. My brother talked about Yoke. Yoke was amalgamated into Sonel in 1975, and no pertinent reason was given for putting an end to PowerCam, because Yoke, which he talked about, we had PowerCam there.
The PowerCam was being transferred to Sonel.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Sonel to the other areas and right up to the new that we have today.
We are saying that the amalgamation of PowerCam into Sonel in 1975 was not pertinent, because if you go right now, the waterfall that used to supply electricity to that Yoke is still flowing. Climate change has not really affected it that much. So which means that to put an end to solve the power outages in that part of Cameroon, the northwest and southwest, we should reconnect. We should go back and recapitalize that PowerCam so that it should regenerate electricity for the people of the northwest and southwest regions and other parts of Cameroon. Blaise talked about poor governance. I want to bring you a palpable case of poor governance that has affected this sector. Permit me just say it. About 2 years ago, there were about 2 companies we had the Dibamba thermal plant that was generating 88 megawatts of electricity and giving to Enyo to supply. We equally had Globelec, Globelec in Kribi, a gas plant that was generating 288 kilowatts of electricity and giving to Enyo to supply to Cameroonians. But these 2 companies have been liquidated. Why? Because the government is unable to pay debts owed to these 2 companies. Huge debts. So these companies had to close down. And most of the debts were incurred by government offices. Government uses electricity but does not pay.
What evidence do you have about that?
These are we have them. The reports, newspaper reports.
But those are stories fabricated by individuals.
No, they are newspaper reports. All what I'm telling you here about Globelec. Did you ever know about Globelec? Did you ever know about the Zimbabwe thermal plant?
That's why you are aware of it.
Yes. So these are 2 companies that used to produce close to 300 kilowatts of electricity that were given to Sonel, to Enyo to give to Cameroonians. But these companies have grounded because their debts are, because Sonel is owing them or Enyo is owing them. So the companies have died. So it has an effect on the outages that we have. Since these companies can no longer produce to give to Enyo to supply to Cameroonians, that is why we have these outages. We must accept that.
Thank you very much, Numfor. It is very obvious that Cameroonians, of course, are watching, and they do have diverse opinions in relations to these power outages in Cameroon, because some of them are complaining that their businesses, of course, have been closed due to the poor supply of current and so on and so forth. But it is very obvious that some of their connections that they do have does not meet up with the standards that, of course, is being required by the supplying company. Don't you think that has been the main cause? Because at one point in time, you come to discover that there are certain enterprises that, of course, do witness incidents today. And when you want to carry on investigation, you come to discover that their connections were not appropriate, were not up to standard. Don't you think this has been actually the cause of this issue of limited supply of current?
Mr. Philip, please don't amuse me. I don't think people, the person who does the planification is the state. If there is any problem, then the state should know. should have
the Cameroonians at one point in time are very stubborn, as some of them are stubborn at one point in time, that they do not want to maybe follow procedures in order to obtain the right issue from the right appropriate quarters. But don't you think with this malfunctioning and the government or the authority that has been put in place to manage this cannot actually investigate to its entirety some of these connections? Don't you think that the responsibility now lies on some Cameroonians?
No. I don't think so. What are laws made for? To regulate the society. When there are people like that, we know how the government can track those people. It comes back to governance. It's impunity. It's not even impunity. Thank you. That's the word. Impunity. When we have people who collaborate, because at times we behave as if we are going to be blaming Cameroonians. No, we have laws. We have business laws. If we are in a state where we can create a favorable environment where business can go on, because this is a huge business. This is something that if there is a good planification, we can have a good business plan.
When you talk of planification and organization, what actually do you mean?
When I talk of planification, what is the role of the state to organize? Where should we put electricity? Our cities, which type of electricity are we going to go in all the 57 divisions? Is it Cameroonians that have to make that planification to tell the state that
but they need to collaborate with the authorities that be for this to come to pass?
Yeah, they need to collaborate. But the state needs to
if there is a lack or there's no collaboration, do you think the government will become a gypsy person to actually know what is ongoing in that area?
I've asked you a question. Why are laws made for? When there are stubborn people in the society, we used to apply law on them.
Yes.
But when we have doubtful people, when we have people within the government who are there to do their own personal business, they use the law to save their interests.
The government is always strict when it comes to
elections.
Political
So we don't have to blame Cameroonians. In every society, you have stubborn people.
Yeah.
Then we have laws that are there that are made to regulate the society. And it's not an individual who does that. It is the state.
That is it.
And we have people who are there to implement.
Exactly.
So I don't see reason why you have to blame a common man.
Yes.
Even you are in the United States, we still have stubborn citizens.
Yes.
But what brings them into order? The laws that have been enacted in the parliament.
Yes.
We have to create a system where those who are there governing need to respect the laws that have been made. If they are respecting the laws, all these corruption issues, we have the institutions that are there. Barrister Riley said it. He said it here. They are just there just to tell Cameroonians, just to blindfold Cameroonians that they do exist. Meanwhile, all these institutions are being controlled by the presidency.
And
we all know that.
It is very obvious that the government, of course, do have a lot of projects that has been put in place. And we have the Nashtika Dam, we have the Lompanga, and so on and so forth.
Beautiful projects.
These projects are, of course, existing.
What we want is, let them deliver to Cameroonians. We want one result.
Yes.
It's the result that we want. We don't want to hear whether they are producing or whatsoever. When I'm talking of planification, you made it, Doctor talk of Lagdo. There are other projects in Adamawa. I don't think it's Bankui project that they said they are going to build a dam to electrify the whole of the northern part of Cameroon. The same government can say organize or planify and say, okay, let's put the Menchum Dam to electrify the northwest and maybe sell part to Nigeria.
Yes.
We go to the southwest. We still have another dam there, which Barrister already said it here.
On the River Mangu.
On River Mangu, and say, okay,
yes,
let's produce this quantity of energy and supply it to the number of people. You function with the demography of your people, the number of people, the population that exists. Nobody has that statistic, only the state.
The state doesn't even have the number. They don't even have the current
statistics. They don't even have. They don't even know the statistics.
Of centralization of power in our country has.
We have decentralization in Cameroon. We can't be talking of decentralization when we have decentralization. Recently, we saw. Of course, we'll be coming back to that. We'll be coming back to that. But of course, it's very obvious that despite the fact that People are claiming that there are outages in the country, but there are other areas. There are people who are benefiting from this. Now, the question now that lies in this issue is, who should be blamed? Aside, because we have, of course, the state of Cameroon, which is there to make sure that Cameroonians to benefit from the supply of electricity. That, of course, is being done. But there are certain individuals who are in certain environment who, of course, some of Cameroonians think that they do not collaborate as the state intends to have their collaboration. So what do you think can be done in this situation to make sure that, of course, Cameroonians do have full electricity on daily basis?
Mr. Philip, I don't know where you want to bring this debate to. I don't know who you want to put the blame. The state is there to work for the people. Now, it now depends if centralization, because everything is being centralized in Yaoundé. The EDC, the Sotrel or whatsoever, everything is being centralized here. Their head offices are, all of those things are there. These are, I made it clear when you gave me my first, I made all the parastatals in this country have a problem. Be it Camtel, be it SNH, all of them have a problem of governance.
Yes, in the areas that you live, in the quarters that you live, have you ever had a situation where a technician comes to your house and tells you that you have a problem of connection? Have you ever had a situation like that?
I've never had a situation like that.
Thank you very much. I'll come back to you.
I've never had a situation like that, but we are here in Yaoundé. I'm talking of, when we talk of Cameroon, let's talk about Samongari. These are Cameroon. These are Cameroonian. Cameroonian do also exist there. Why is it that people there are people who do not have electricity?
But the problem of electricity is not
rural electrification. Why is it a problem?
It is not only a problem of Cameroon. There are other parts of this world or countries across the world that do have issues of electricity. So you cannot be blaming only the government to produce electricity to you.
Now, it's someone who is so pragmatic, someone who is on the field, who is talking out to you. I don't know where you get
you're talking to Cameroonians.
Yeah, I'm talking to Cameroonians, and they know the best understand where I live in Kumbu. I don't know if Kumbu will really have electricity. Rural electrification is still a problem there. In my Kaikala or maybe Kingomen, or talk of Jakiri. When you talk of Jakiri, maybe there's a subdivision. There are subdivision here. These are things. These are basic things that we should work.
Before these areas, before these areas can be electrified, you need to apply.
What is the role? What is the role of government that you have been?
If you can't complain of a lack of electricity, how will the government understand that?
The government, a bureaucratic government.
You are simply telling me that the government is incompetent.
You are talking to Cameroonians, not me.
Yes. Let me remind Phil that the Rural Electrification Agency was created some 15 to 20 years ago.
Yes.
To put paid to the problem of rural darkness. But up to this moment that we are speaking, 75% of rural areas in Cameroon are not electrified. 75%. These are statistics from the National Institute of Statistics.
Let me
you don't have the floor for now.
Yes. I just want to check something to you. 75% of rural areas in Cameroon don't have electricity, and all of this, in spite of the existence of Sonatrel that transports electricity, in spite of the existence of the Rural Electrification Agency that has been there for more than 15 years, in spite of the presence of in spite of thermal plants that are dotted here and there that generate electricity through fossil fuels, we still have, blackouts and so on. The idea of this issue of corruption, mismanagement, they are still very, very responsible for the outages that we have in Cameroon. And another very important aspect, our government has decided to be too dependent on hydroelectric power, whereas we have renewable sources of energy like solar, like wind, like tidal waves, like biomass. I gave you those statistics at the start of the program. Why can government not invest money in the solar energy sector, in those renewable energy sources? Morocco that does not have the number of rivers that we have. Kenya, Egypt, that do not have the rivers that we have. Virtually every division in Cameroon is named after a river. But why are we suffering? Because our government is too hydroelectric power dependent, and with the climate changes, those things are failing us. We need to change. We need to change and, you know, develop renewable sources of energy that would, you know, give us constant supply of electricity in this country.
Thank you very much, Anum, for Lawson. Of course, Cameroonians are getting your feedback, and it is very obvious that we are here for a reason. I'll come back to you. We are coming to the end of this first phase of the program. Of course, I'll come to you, Barrister Lekelek Michael. Now, you come to discover that we have this issue in Cameroon. What actually should the authority that be, or should the company now that is in the hands of the government, what should they do to make sure that Cameroonians all over the national territory can actually benefit from electricity?
Yeah, I think give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and to God what belongs.
Do you think that the connection or Sonatrach should improve its technicalities?
There are a lot of improvement everywhere that we need to do, but one thing which I want to say is that taking back the electricity sector, nationalizing back the electricity sector, it should not be to compensate maybe those who have accompanied us during elections in one way or the other, to appoint them there so that they can recover as it has been appointment in Cameroon have been. Because if appointments in Cameroon are meant to serve the communities, to help the national society, some of these problems will not be there. Permit me say, like when you are talking about corruption, if you look at today, you will even see that the posts. And I want to just bring an example.
Barrister, aside bringing politics into it, we come to discover that we have the Advanced School of Engineering today that do fabricate technicians in the country. Don't you think that would be a good source of employment if actually the authority that be seek their presence in order to curve out this issue?
Of course, if our technicians are there to talk about source of employment, let me go back to your former question, which was talking about the number of dams, Nashtiga and all the like which were, have been created in the past. I want to think how many employments have these institutions, these
thousands,
thousands. Have they
generated
thousands? When you're talking about thousands, perhaps you might have your statistics, but I want to think that if these plants were made, and that today we are talking about industrialization, and we don't see industries which are dependent on this power plant, which for a government to invest fabulous sums of billions in order to realize such huge projects, which will encourage industrialization, and that today we are after years after that, and we don't see industries which we can
Barrister
say.
The question is very simple.
Yes.
What do you think the government or the authority that be should do in order to curve out this issue of blackout witnessed by some Cameroonians in certain areas?
The first thing is that the government has opted for decentralization. Let decentralization be implemented, let it be effective, so that if it becomes effective, that the regional assembly of the Southwest or of each region will cater for its problems of the region. I think there will equally issues of electricity, issues of basic social amenities will be a priority of these institutions, and through that, I think like in the Southwest, it will be a priority for the regional assembly of the Southwest to
it is very obvious that Barrister Lekelefak, when we talk about the distribution of electricity, we are talking about technical competence. Don't you think that if the authorities that be seek for more competent individuals or employee, that would be a solution to manage some of the machines that do supply to Cameroonians?
The question is not the management of the machines and whatever. The question is first and foremost trying to understand that we have 10,000 persons in this house who are in need of electricity, and that is why I say if decentralization becomes effective, and that within each region
the people come up with their project, with their vision, it may be their program for electricity supply, you will see that they now making resorts to the competent technicians who can respond to the need of the people who address the problem. But if you recruit, I don't want to believe that the electricity sector in Cameroon today is suffering because of lack of competence. I think we have a lot of we have a lot of competent people there, but the problem is there is no well articulated program put in place which these people are supposed to carry it on. It is just something which, when you are appointed today, or if you are appointed Mr. Fee today, the general manager, you have to render account to the people who have appointed you and make
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefaka. Thank you for your contribution. I'll come to you, Nufo Lawson Guam. Today, you are complaining that we have a lot of dams, we have a lot of resources, we have a lot of stuff that can easily actually send out currents to Cameroonians for them to consume and increase the gross domestic product in the country. Now, tell us, what actual solutions are you sending out to the government or to the authorities that be so that they can use it and overcome such issues in Cameroon?
Thank you. I'll give those solutions in point form. Before I do that, I would like to say that one other problem that our government needs to address in this sector is overbilling of electricity projects. You can imagine
they do bill based on consumption. When you talk about overbilling, they do bill based on consumption.
I'm talking about overbilling of projects, electricity projects. Let me just align, please. In Menvele was earmarked to be constructed at the sum of 212 billion francs. But by the time Menvele was completed, the bill that was given for the construction of Menvele was 500 billion. Where is 282 billion? Where has the 282 billion gone to?
Project?
You see, making was earmarked to be built for 45 billion francs, but they ended up swallowing more than 200 billion francs. These excesses, these other monies that that we cannot account for, that is the corruption that we are talking about.
So are you calling for rigor? Are you calling for the full implementation of rigor and moralization?
We are talking about fighting corruption in a merciless manner through, lifestyle audits. We should carry out lifestyle audits, because you see some of these people around who work in these places. Somebody is employed today. After 2 months, he starts building a 5-story building. The government should carry out lifestyle audits in this country and question people where they have taken their wealth. Article 66 should be implemented with all rigor. Now, coming to the way forward. The way forward now, these are the solutions that I think I should give to my government. We should reroute the transmission lines that carry electricity to the various parts of Cameroon, so as to decongest the load, the electricity load, so that all other the 10 regions in Cameroon can benefit from electricity at equilibrium level. The second issue, the second reform is that the government should carry out huge investments in the sector that can enable the company NEO to buy high quality transformers. The people in Boya, Mutengene and so on, for 7 months they don't have electricity because they don't have transformer, or the transformers that they have are of very low quality, substandard transformers. The government should invest a lot of money in high quality transformers that can stay for long.
Permit me, Chief, a bit that to say that even when you see in communities, there are communities which have contributed money to buy transformers in order to have light, whereas it is the government which is supposed to come with the transformers.
Of course, you have the floor.
Furthermore, other sources of renewable sources of energy should be, government should pump money in renewable sources of energy, billions. And then other projects like Menchum, Kasina Ala in the northwest, Yoke in Moroka, Bini Awara, other projects on the river Manyu in the southwest region should be earmarked for construction. These are all energy hubs. These are all projects that if they are carried out, they will supply electricity within the southern part of Cameroon and all these outages will be a thing of the past.
Thank you very much, Lausen Gua, for your contribution. Of course, those who are watching, the authorities that are watching, of course, are getting your information, and it is no news that they will take, of course, what you said recently. I'll come to you, Bless Kwajika. We are coming to the end of this first phase of the program. Your last word, a solution to the authorities that be, and to Cameroonians. How are they going to collaborate in such a way that at the end of the day, both parties will put hands together and fight against this issue in the society and bring back electricity in their areas?
Yeah, I will just bring where my company just said, talking of energy hubs. We need to make good use of all these different energy hubs that we have in this country. Decentralize all these institutions. Whatsoever billions that we are going to pump, if we don't decentralize these institutions, it means it's still a waste of time. We need to make in such a way our parastatals, not only to NAO, all the parastatals, we need to make in such a way that all the regions have filials. That is, we have the central. If we have EDC, which is here, let's have, each region should also have its own EDC, so that we can be producing our own energy in all the different regions. That's what I'm calling of decentralization, and permit Cameroonians to have shares. Create access for Cameroonians to also have shares in some of these parastatals. Also, I will also tell Cameroonians, you talk of Cameroonians, but I don't know what I should give like Cameroonian, because in every society, you will still have people. You can't have everybody respecting. Solution, Bless Kwajika. Yeah,
the government that is watching.
Solution.
To make sure that this thing can be a thing of the past.
My solution will go maybe to the National Assembly. That is, let's create an environmental law that will permit us to protect our environment, so that this CO2 and whatsoever, so that we shouldn't have problems with the environment. With the environment, that is the environmental problems. Let's see how we can regulate that with good laws. That is, when we get into Parliament, maybe in the next session, let's bring in laws that will permit us to protect our environment.
Thank you.
I think that's Mr. Kwajika just talked about the environmental protection. I think it is even a constitutional right. If you read the preamble of the Cameroon Constitution, the right to a decent environment, there is a provision there which is a constitutional right. So
we can derive it from our constitution.
There's a solution that I have for the Rural Electrification Agency.
Thank you very much. We are coming to the end of the first phase of the program. I have 1 second. Right on.
Yes. The Electrification Agency in Cameroon should be able to distribute modular photovoltaic battery systems free of charge to communities, so that they can have access to solar energy at all intervals. And then the government should implement its own strategic policy on electricity, which are threefold. One, the Rural Electrification Master Plan, the Energy Sector Master Plan, and the Renewable Energy Master Plan.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
And the government is not implementing them adequately. The government should go a long way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You had enough. Thank you very much. We are done already with the first phase.
Let me just add one point. We are done with the marketing part.
Bless Kwajika, we are done with the first phase of the program. Of course, we have other things to discuss in the course of this program. Thank you very much, our panelists. Of course, let's just get this transition and we're back to continue with our next topic on our menu this very evening. Welcome back on this second phase of your program. Of course, this is Game of Thrones, and we'll dive directly to our second topic of the day, which is talking about the regional elections, or regional elections of our councillors, rather. Is it timely? Of course, I just want to remind you that you can participate on this program on the numbers that on your screen through WhatsApp. You can leave us a message, or you can actually send us an SMS. We'll get back to you. That will be your own means of contribution. Send out whatsoever you have in mind, so that of course Cameroonians can actually benefit from your thoughts. We dive directly to the second part of the program, which of course is talking about regional elections. Just this very day, of course, the various presidents were being installed in their various areas and various regions, and some of the members or executive members of the regional council were also being installed. And it is no news that these regional councillors or the members are, of course, getting into work immediately. Now I'll come to you, Numfo Lawson. We are just from the regional election on November 30th, 2025. They voted the various regional councillors, and today we are seeing the presence of executive members of these councils and the president. Now tell us, do you think this regional election actually and the vote of these new members of the regional assembly, do you think their presence, of course, is of great importance? Are these elections, was it actually timely?
Well, thank you very much for the question. You know, as per the 2019 law that created the regional councils, or the constitution that created the regional councils, and their implementation was done by the 2019 law, which gives, which empowers regional councillors to be elected for 5 years. They were at the end of their mandate, and they had that mandate had to be renewed. Since their former mandate was not extended, they normally had to organize another election. So it was but normal from a legal perspective that they should be re-elected.
Are these people, the regional councillors, are their presence in their various region, of course, do have an impact, or are they just there as a toy to just parade around and maybe listen to the authorities that be? Are they actually effective in their various regions?
It would depend on the region. There are some regions where the regional council executive is very proactive in terms of development.
What is their role?
Well, the constitution states that, you know, the constitution has provided, has devolved powers from the central government to the regions as a way of solving the Anglophone problem, you know, and this way of solving the too much centralization of power in Yaoundé, which all Cameroonians have been complaining about for more than 30 years now. So when the regional councils were created and the regional executives were put in place, Cameroonians expected that these regional executives should, by virtue of the law creating these regions, they should, you know, implement the powers that have been devolved to them, the powers and the resources.
And what are the powers? What do we talk about powers? Because Cameroonians at this particular point in time, they are confused. Yes. Now we have our regional councillors, we have the governors in the various region. Now, what role do they play? Are these councillors or regional councillors, are they in this position just for window dressing, or are they subjected to other authorities? Do they have the full power to carry on their activities?
They have. But, you know, like it is often said, the central government has given the power, but it doesn't want to give fully. It's like you give somebody a goat with, you are giving somebody a goat and then holding back the rope. You know, in life, no power is given completely to you. In life, the philosophy in as far as politics or power is concerned is that you seize your rights. You seize your rights. If you wait that they will give them to you on a platter of gold, you are wasting your time. As for you know the regional councils that we just talked about, the laws are there, they are clear. I used to say it on this panel that Cameroon is a paradise as far as its laws are concerned, but a hell in its applications. The laws are there, very, very clear. It now depends on the individual who is the office holder, the courage of the office holder to make sure that he implements the laws governing that office.
Thank you very much, Ngwalauson. It is very obvious that we have the political party representative here, the PCRO, and of course Blaise Kwajika. Cameroonians right now, some of them were being voted as a member of these various regional councils today. And do you think their presence right now to man these positions, Cameroonians are expecting something marvelous? Are we expecting certain changes? Are these people actually manning the right position at the right time?
There is nothing to expect from this mandate, of which we know is still the same system which exists.
Did your party have the opportunity to go in as one of the regional councillors?
Of course. We participated in the elections.
You didn't succeed, or you succeeded?
In the central region. We didn't succeed, but we had an improvement comparative to the past mandate. An increase in the number of councillors. Are you
glorifying the position, or you're doubting the effectiveness of the regional council?
I'm doubting the effectiveness of the regional council, same as for the other way. Why am I doubting? I think my
you have your own. You have your own opinion.
Yeah, I have my own opinion. No, the opinions. It's there. It's glaring.
You can't be buying everybody's opinion. You are from a different political party. He's a civil society activist. You are not here to be buying opinion from others.
Mr. Philip, I don't know what you expect me to say. Meanwhile, it's something.
It means you don't have anything to say.
I have a lot to say.
Now, Cameroonians want to hear.
No, Cameroonians wants to hear, but I'm telling you that there's nothing we can expect from there. And I make it clear because it's still the same system that exists. I said it here clearly. And I'm trying to spring from where he said. He said something pertinent, and we need to emphasize on that.
And what is that?
Holding the rope. When you serve the goat, you hold the rope. It means you don't want decentralization to operate. You don't want to give power to the people.
Was it not a free and fair election?
Philip, we are not here for people. You are here. You called all here to give information.
I'm asking.
If you called all here,
I am asking you. Was it not a free and fair election?
We have to tell us. Let's give to Cameroonians.
I'm asking you.
It's free and fair. But now to exercise the implementation of that organ, of that institution. How effective is that institution to the Cameroon? How helpful are they to Cameroon?
Then why did your party go in for the election?
Today,
it actually wasn't important.
Because we were coming with a new program. But seeing those who are there have their own program with the party discipline that we all know, things can go. But we were coming with something different. It has nothing to do with party discipline. We came with a project. And as I was saying, talking of decentralization, you can't sell a goat while holding the rope. If you want to sell the goat, sell everything and give. Give the means to those institutions to operate.
I don't understand that parable. Can you tell them?
Give the means to the people. Give that competence to the people.
Powers and the resources.
And the resources. So Cameroonians are getting what I'm telling. I don't know why Cameroonians are getting what I'm saying. You can't
feel in another way. What he is saying is that, you know, the decentralization is effective on paper, but in practical terms it is difficult to implement it because the political will from our authorities is not really there.
Work of political will.
Yes.
When you talk about political will, Blaise Kwajika, of course, at these elections, of course, there are certain category of people who were expected to vote during this election. We have councillors and, of course, our traditional rulers. Your party went there. It is very obvious you didn't have the opportunity to attain, maybe have a seat in the various regions. Now, today, you are not happy, you are not comfortable with what is actually going on, but this election, of course, was free and fair. Now the question that lies now is this actual regional election, are these members that were being voted into power, and some of them just took power this afternoon, is it worthy of appreciation? Is this election going to bring something marvelous into the Cameroonian society?
If you want me to follow what you want to say, there is nothing, we have said it here, that there is nothing we can expect from this mandate from the regional council, because we can't serve the goal while holding the rope. You can't vote people who do not have means. They don't transfer competence to them to operate how they are supposed to, what they are supposed to do. Mr. Phil, I don't know which language you want me to speak. You are not
talking to me, you are talking to Cameroonians.
Because we are the one asking the questions, whether Cameroonians want us to proceed. You want to bring me, or if you want to bring me an issue for PCRN, you want to bring it, let it be an issue of PCRN.
It is not a matter of PCRN.
It is a matter of PCRN.
I'm asking a question. The question is very clear. It's not a PCRN matter of SDF or UNDP and so on and so forth. It is a clear question. I'm asking you as a Cameroonian, not only as a PCRN. There is nothing we are expecting, Mr. Philip, if that's what you want me to tell you. So you are not expecting anything? We are expecting nothing. For the past month, can you give me a balance sheet of what in the past month what they did? They don't have. First of all, you see some of them are complaining that they don't have the means. They can't carry the economic. One of the missions that this chamber has to carry in the way is where it has to do the economic welfare of the people. Tell me, you come from one region. Tell me when you go back to your region, I don't know, you come from Northwest. Tell me which change have you seen there? Those people are exercising when the governor is still there, moving behind the regional president. Maybe the regional president is supposed to be the boss of the region
because he's elected.
Because he's elected. But you see, the governor still have the power, still have more power than the regional president. Then what are you telling me? What do you want me to expect? Nobody is telling anything. It is a question that you need to educate Cameroonians. Yes. You are here to educate Cameroonians. Well, we are here, exactly. We are there. Only that you don't want us to proceed. No, you are proceeding. You have the floor. You have the floor. Except you have something, you want us to say something. You have the floor, blessed. There is nothing, nobody is contradicting what you're saying. Cameroonians actually want to know, and that's why I'm a moderator. I'm moderating here to make you understand, or to pass out, or come out with actually what you have as an insight, so that Cameroonians can actually understand what is transpiring in the country when it concerns the regional election. Notwithstanding, I'll come back to you. Barrister Barrister Michael Ekelefak. Of course, we have the regional elections, of course, unfolding, and of course today, this very day, we saw how the executive members were being put to par, and we have the various regional president that are being made known today to Cameroonians. Are you expecting something more from these regional elections, or from these members of the regional councils? Is the election actually timely? Is it something that's going to transform the political landscape in the country?
Was the mandate of the electorate renewed before proceeding to the election of the regional assembly? The councillors constitute the how do they call it, municipal councillor, or the municipal councillors, and the chiefs who constitute the electorate or the electoral body of this election. They are the ones who elected the present regional assembly. The question is, the people who elected the councillors, the people who took office today, was their mandate renewed because they have come to the end of their own mandate? And why is it that their mandate cannot be renewed first before they proceed to giving Barrister Michael Ekelefak. I'm coming to
you are a legal expert. It is very obvious that Cameroonians, of course, depend on you when it concerns information of this magnitude. Yes. Now, we just voted, or those who were supposed to vote voted for the various regional presidents or members of the regional councils and so on and so forth. Now, are we expecting something marvelous from this council?
When you are asking me the question, that is why I want to answer that. Why to give you my expectations. If you take that from the present tenure of the councillors, the municipal councillors, and the electoral body of those who voted people into the regional assembly has come to an end, then you can proceed to saying that. But now, since it has come to an end and they have voted, the regional councillors and the regional bureaus have been put into place, what are we expecting? No right can come out of a legal wrong. From the base, we see that it is a formality that must be accomplished. When it comes to elections in Cameroon, it is a formality to accomplish because the results are known. From the presidential elections, we have seen presidential elections. Presidential elections which have been organized.
When you talk about
to confirm a candidate, and
Barrister Ekelefak, when you talk about the results, when you talk about the results were already known, it is obvious that we have category of people who voted. It wasn't through universal suffrage.
Some councillors, that's why I'm saying that go back to the councillors who have voted. They voted for their party. Understand, Mr. Philip, understand. Go back to the council. I started by saying that their tenure is over. And now, some councillors, I think some councillors, I'm not God, but I don't pray for the death of people, but I don't want to believe that from the past, this past mandate is coming to an end without having lost a councillor who needed to have been replaced in his constituency so as to proceed in the voting of the regional assembly. So what about councillors who have passed on, and that how were they
what are you implying?
Which is to say that the regional assembly today is uncalled for. I am not against decentralization, but the modus operandi which is operating is just to help to consolidate dictatorship, which has been implanted for years. The regional assembly, when we talk about the regional assembly, as my co-panelists were talking about selling the goat and and holding the rope, it is very obvious. When you talk about decentralization, if decentralization has to become effective, Mr. Phil, you go back to my Minji local council where I come from, a royal council where I come from, the mayor has to be the God, the Almighty, who commands, Supreme. And it is a council which takes into consideration who does the administration of the area, knowing that the state, the senior divisional officer or the divisional officer will be there. They are not there to regulate. They are not regulating. They become the watchdog of the central state. And when they talk about the watchdog of the central state, it means that if they see that the councillor, the mayor, is going against the interest, the supreme interest of the state, the central state, they have to proceed. They are not going to write a report to Yaoundé. Why they have to? Why that is the reason why we have the administrative courts today all over the country, administrative litigation. The council, when you see the law governing administrative litigation, administrative dispute, that is where the administrative authority, they may be the sous-prefect, the prefect, has now to call the attention to seize the administrative court. Mr. Mayor, you have gone against this. It is not that we shall write, you come and command that you do this.
What are you telling Cameroonians? Are you telling Cameroonians that these councillors are not exercising their duty per se?
The central government is still the one manning everything in Cameroon. When we want to talk about decentralization, my brother.
So the election was just an exercise.
I have said it is a formality to tell Cameroonians we are implementing decentralization, but it is far from decentralization. Elections in Cameroon,
are they not working?
What are they working? What are they working? What is the budget of? Let me take the
budget of the Northwest Regional Assembly. Is 15 billion.
15 billion. And how many divisions are in the Northwest? And what is the population? What can 15 billion? So whereas when they talk about devolution of competence, financial competence and administrative competence, when you see the projects like we are talking about electricity today, can 15 billion cater the issue of electricity in the Northwest? In the Northwest, I mean only in the Northwest, can 15 billion cater the problem of electricity in the Northwest? That is far from. So that is why I'm saying that decentralization is a very nice program.
Concept, yes.
It's a nice program to meet the needs of the local person, to meet up with the need of that person, that local man in 4 hours. That he doesn't need to come to Yaoundé again. But as we are saying, once it concerns the administration of Biya, the present administration of Biya, nothing is done in the interest of Cameroonians.
So you're telling Cameroonians that the fact that the regional councillors were being voted in Cameroon, that was just another way of just exercising a normal duty. It has no impact. That's what you're saying.
I'm confirming that when it comes to election, the only thing that the Biya administration has been competent for the past decades in the life of Cameroonians is to organize elections with their results known.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekele Faka. That's your own contribution, and we are coming towards the end of this program now. It is very obvious that we need to get, of course, your feedbacks. We were talking about these regional councillors. We are talking about these regional elections. Known for Lawson. You are a civil society activist. Now, when you look at the various candidates that were being, of course, elected to power, do you think they are going to meet up with the expectations of the people?
Well, to be very honest with you, for the Northwest that I know very well, permit me talk about the Northwest. I think concerning the Northwest Regional Assembly, there is at least some semblance of seriousness when it comes to the Northwest Regional Assembly. The person who heads it, Fro and Wafo III, who has been there for the past 5 years. When you look at his...
Are you praising him because he's a fun and you are afraid of some of his verdicts?
No, he's not a fun. That is just his name.
Okay.
Yes, he's not a fun. I'm talking about some of the realizations that I have seen with my own eyes. Apart from him, and maybe to an extent in the Southwest, the French-speaking regions of Cameroon is a fiasco, frankly speaking. It's a fiasco in terms of realization. Because, you know, the concept of regionalism is a new concept to our French-speaking brothers. That concept of regionalism, we have it in Southern Cameroons.
Indirect rule.
Yes, indirect rule. You know that...
What has been done in the Northwest that you appreciate so very much that has not been done in the Central region or in the Littoral?
Well, the public independent conciliators that work hand in hand with the regional assemblies, they do a lot. They have worked a lot to, you know, monitor the activities of councils, of the 34 councils in the Northwest and those of the Southwest. At that level, at least I can appreciate the efforts of the public independent conciliators. For the Northwest, you have some minor projects that have been carried out in virtually all the regions: classroom construction, grading of roads, you know, supply of benches to schools. But it is still not enough because, you know, according to the 2019 law, it is the regional council that should take care of secondary education and primary education. But we are not seeing the local public service is not yet there in place. The 15% that is supposed to, the 15% of the state budget that is supposed to be devolved to regional and local authorities has not yet been carried out, has not yet been transferred to them. Then the decentralization fund of this year, I think, was 292 billion. It is still far from what is expected to be shared to all the 360 councils in Cameroon and all the 10 regions. If you divide this 292 billion francs to all these regional and local authorities, you see that it is just chicken feet. They can't do anything.
So what are you expecting from these regional councillors?
I expect that, you know, with the signing of the law on local taxation last year, that I have some hope that with that law gives openings for certain taxes that can be collected at local level. That can be collected at local level or collected by the Minister of Finance, and then each region has its own share of those taxes that they can now use in carrying out projects.
Thank you very much, Ngwa Lausan, for your contribution. Of course, you have the floor right now, Blaise Kwajika. You are not comfortable with some of the declarations, despite the fact that you are a communicator from the PCRN party. Now, I'll come back to you. The regional councillors, of course, they are already in power, and the various presidents, of course, are well known today. Like in the Central region, we have the former city mayor of Yaoundé. He's already in power. It is very obvious that Cameroonians are expecting a lot from these people who just gain another mandate into the regional councils. Now, what are you expecting from these people? Are you expecting thorough development? And actually, if you're expecting development, what are the mechanisms that you believe should be, of course, implemented for Cameroonians to actually benefit from these institutions?
He once said that he doesn't expect anything from them.
I don't know.
Meaning you don't have any contribution to give to you don't have anything to say to the regional councillors?
I've made my mind clear, because looking at the
if you were the one, if No, let's be clear about this. If actually it was your party that was being elected in the areas that you needed or you demanded or you wanted, what actually are you supposed to do to make sure that this institution to function clearly?
Mr. Philip, I just want to make our viewers understand that with the actual the present situations that we are now, with the form of state that we have, this institution do not have a place for the moment. With the centralized, hyper-centralized form of state, this institution can't operate. And PCRN have been advocating for a new form of state, a federal. We are there for a federal form of state. We came with a new form of state that is bringing power closer to the people.
But is this not taking power to the people?
But taking power to the people while holding the rope. That is when we talk of selling the gold while holding the rope. It means you can't give me power, or you send me into a war front without giving me arms.
So what are you expecting? So you want the council to be dissolved? That's what you're saying?
No. We have to look at, we have to be sincere in our governance. If really we want to implement that decentralization policy, let's give that power.
Political will.
That political will.
You have the floor.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you want me to say, I will say, I will.
You have the floor.
I would rather tell you that the Article 15, the Article 25 of the Decentralization Code, talking of the finance, let's apply that. Let it be applicable when it comes to funding of these local institutions. We need to increase that budget. 15% is too small to boost development in 15% is small. Why
let them first even give the 15%.
Let's give the 15% first. Benefit of doubt. Yes, let's give the 15%.
Thank you.
Let's give the 15%.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So my problem is,
thank you.
Let's apply Article 25 first before we can start having maybe hopes that this institution can operate, because actually there is nothing that they can do.
Thank you very much, Blaise Akwajika. Thank you very much, Lausin Numfongwa, for your presence today. Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefak, Mike, for your presence. It's been a wonderful day tonight, and I would just want to believe that you grab something very important. And of course, this program is every Tuesday, as from 9 p.m. right up to 10 p.m. Of course, it is 1 hour 30 minutes program, and of course, a rebroadcast of it will be yours on Saturday at 4 p.m. Stay tuned, because more program continues on Info TV. From us, we say good night.